Hello everybody, SJM back, new pack. I think it came out yesterday for public release, but I think it's been in a beta for a while. It's been around and people have been making videos on it for at least a week, if not longer than that. But it's now available on CurseForge and in public areas where you would normally get your mod packs. And yeah, just started a new game. We're in the lobby here. Apparently, the way it's set up for now, you can actually break things in here. So if you wanted to take a crate for some free storage, you can just break this and bring it with you for, you know, some quick storage on the other side. But we're not going to do that. We're just going to follow the instructions here. So if we do /skyblock GUI, and then we'll get into our options for our starter island. So just skyblock tab, and then GUI tab, and that brings us to this. So we're going to click on create new team, and then we don't need to worry about a name unless you're going to be playing on a server with multiple people. Then you'll want to put your team name there so people know which team you're on if you're playing, especially on a larger scale server. And then the template here will determine your starter island type. So there's a few different kinds. There's one here, it's got some buildings and some structures, you know, witch cottage, your standard old school skyblock start, sanguine sanctuary, a little staycation for Steve, there's a pig, and then back to the simple life. I'm going to go to the default just because I'm more of a skyblock purist. And then I'm not sure about these settings here, but if you know what you're doing, you can tick or untick those ones there. So we're just gonna create one, doesn't matter about the name, and here we are. So first things first, we want to break the leaves to make sure that we get our sapling right away. But there is in the quest book, if we hit E, we can access the quest from here, or you can also keybind it. So in the controls, in your keybinds, if you type quests, you can just pick any key that you want there. If it has something like these red markers, then there is also a keybind conflict with it, but F4 is my standard. There's almost never anything on F4 in packs, so I always like having that one, and that's consistent across all of my packs there, right? But in the quest line, if you're doing teams, you're going to want to read some of that stuff. Just reading through the quests, basically telling you this mod pack, the quests, you don't have to follow the quest line, but it gives you direction. Now the thing about the current state of ATM10 is that there's only one chapter. And all of the rest of this basically just tells you about the mods that are in the pack and a general overview of the machines that are in there and how and what they do and how to go about with them. So if you're confused about a mod, check here first, and then maybe peruse other areas for help, like Reddit or YouTube, so on and so forth. But in the chapter that we do have, it's basically just getting started into resource production through sieving. And we'll get to that here in a minute. So it's pretty short. There's not a lot to it. But if you lose all your saplings, you can always come over here and click this and you'll get an extra sapling. So see how I've got a sapling here? And then to the left of the 1 key is the tilde, and that will activate your Ultimine, because FTB Utilities is in the pack. So if we hold that and we break these leaves, they'll all break at the same time, and because I was over here in a safer area, they kind of dropped towards me. So I was able to collect a couple of extra saplings that way, and then we'll do the same with these logs. Just note that using the Ultimine does use up some of your saturation and hunger, so that is a thing to be aware of there. So first things first, we're going to get a crafting table and we're going to put it on a stick. And then in our, if you click this button, you can get to your what are they called? Jeez. I'm blanking on what these are called. Trinkets. You can put it in a slot over here and then access it with a hotkey. Again, you could look at the keybinds, but by default it's V for Victor, and that'll get us to the 3x3 crafting area here. And then we'll start off getting some slabs so that we can have a little bit extra area. And then when these little greater than and less than signs appear around your crosshairs, then you can place a block out in front of it. And then there's also one where they will go down like that. That means you can place a block underneath, just like that. But we don't really need that for right now, but I just wanted to extend this out a little bit so that when these trees grow, we can less chance of saplings and apples and such flying off of the edge on us. So I'm just going to do that. So there is a twerker mod in here, so if you spam the shift button, it will grow trees for you, as well as if you sprint. That does not work in this pack. It typically does work, but not in this pack. But now that I don't need to vein mine all of these, ultimine all of these leaves, because I've got a couple of extra saplings. So we're just going to do the logs for now. And I just do these trees. If more than one tree grows at the same time, it's not a big loss, but doing them one at a time gives you more leaves to break to get you more chances at saplings and some apples for some early food. Although early food isn't a concern because the first quest gives you 16 steaks and it's just a checkmark quest, so nothing to worry about there. Again, we get a few extra sticks and an extra sapling for collecting 4 logs. And then these go in different directions, so we're not going to worry about too much about that. If you want to follow the quest line closely, you can. But we're going to kind of beeline ourselves towards getting the resources up and going quickly. And also I wanted to do that. Oh yes, the other thing that we wanted to get really quickly was a crook. So if we put 4 sticks like that, that gets us a crook. And if you use this to break the leaves, we get better chances at saplings, and one of these guys a silkworm, and we need this next so that we can start getting some string. So I'm going to break the rest of those. And don't use your crook when ultimining the logs, otherwise it will use the durability. Wanted all those trees to grow, and then we're going to use our 1 silkworm. We're going to infest one of these leaves, and then this will go up to 100, and then it will start spreading to other leaves. And it will take a minute or two, but eventually we'll get all of those leaves infested and we'll be able to drop a whole bunch of string with them. But while we're waiting for that to happen, we can expand out our island here. So while that's doing its thing, I'm going to do my thing. Now on this island is a little bit weird. Oh, that's placed way down there. I didn't want that, but that's fine. Because this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 by 1, 2, 3, 4, Let's count over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's an even number, whereas I typically like having my starting platforms odd numbers. So I'm going to have 3 on this side, but only 2 on this side, so I can get back to an odd number on my sizing for my starting main platform here. So it looks like we're getting close to finish there. So we've got 2 on that side, so we'll go out and we'll do on that side. And with a starting island like this size, we shouldn't have to worry too much about mobs spawning because everything's within 20 blocks of us, right? But now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we have an 11 by 11 platform. 2, 4, 5. So on the 6th one, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. That's only 4, but that's fine because we're going to make all of these 3 wide anyways. 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops. Misplaced one. Let's break that now so I don't lose track of which one it was. Now that most of those are finished now, we can get ourselves a nice fresh crook. And then we can, a little bit of my personality there coming out where I really like to be as efficient as possible. Now you notice we got 64 plus 13. If I don't use a crook to break these, we don't get any string out of them. So you definitely do want to be using a crook on those infested leaves. And some of them are starting to despawn because of they got separated. And I will be back in a minute. Hello, little one. Hello. Hello, Leona. Hello. Yep, my cat just came in from outside, so I had to go close the door so he didn't go back out, because if he went back out after having his little snack, he would have been out for the night, which I don't want. So while I'm up here, I'll vein mine these logs. We'll lose out on some of these leaves, but I'm not too worried about that. And then same here, we'll drop down and hurt ourselves a bit, but that's not a big deal with all this steak that we've got available. And time to start replenishing our sapling population. But we got lots of wood and lots of string available now, so we can move on. So the next thing we want to get working on is some stone and pebbles. So with the grass, if we crouch and right click, we'll get some of these pebbles, and we'll get a whole bunch of different kinds of them. And at the start here, we are going to need a metric ton of them. We're going to need lots and lots. So I've got a good sample of all of them, and then the stone pebbles are a little bit more common. So I'll make a multiple stacks of those. Just that has to be an empty hand, which is why I'm doing that with my inventory. And then as soon as I see my hotbar starting to fill up, then at that point I'll know that my stacks are starting to get full. But we do want to do this for quite a while. There is something you can do if you have macros available on your mouse that can make this go a lot faster. So right now we're getting like every half a second or so we're getting a pebble come up. But if you have a macro set up, you can get it to click a lot faster than that. Remembering that in Minecraft you can get up to 20 ticks per second as long as you're don't have as long as there's no connection issues or anything like that. So you could probably, crank this right up and get a full inventory of these in, a minute or two, like less long than it's taken me to talk right here. But I don't have that available, so I'm stuck grinding this out the very long way. And while we're waiting, we can chop down that tree since I noticed that it had grown. So yeah, gonna need lots and lots and lots of these to start. So I'm gonna be doing this for a little bit. Hopefully you don't have to take this long to do it, but if you do, then it is what it is. We're pretty much just rushing to get to the cobblestone generator is the big thing that we want to get to right away. And we don't have to build a lot of things to get there, but we do need a few things. Let's go pick up some of this stuff so that it doesn't despawn while we're waiting. Oh, and I guess we could get more of those down. As you can see, we got a healthy amount of all of this stuff now. So we're going to need our 3x3 grid. Actually, we don't. We can do this in our regular crafting grid. So if we're just in our inventory here, if you hold Shift and push K, it will convert all of those pebbles into their stone forms. So we've got black stone, we've got granite, we've got deep slate and basalt and andesite, and then all of our stone, bang, just like that, it all goes, and we ended up with a full stack of stone, so that's pretty decent. Well, almost a stack and a half of it right away there. Let's make some chests so that we have storage. And just for now, we'll put some down and we'll put a lot of this stuff away for now that we're not using. I'm going to keep most of this stone on me for now. But the next thing that we want to start getting into is getting our sieves up and going. So we'll take a few things out for us here right away. And we're going to build out to a platform here as well. Get a place where we can do our sieving. So and I'm going to start on my design while I'm here as well. I'm not sold that I'll be using oak as this trim. I might want to switch that right away, but just to have markers where things are going to be, I'm just going to be putting those down for now. basically building a 7x7 here. We'll worry about that later. And daytime is coming back, so that's nice. Oh, I should have made more than that, but that's fine. That's good enough there. Now that we've got some stone as well, we may as well, actually we've got sticks here that, yeah, we don't need to make any sticks at the moment. So what we can do, we can make a pickaxe, an axe, a shovel, and then if we put all of those together in the right order, we can make a paxel, and that way we don't have to have multiple tools in our inventory, and it's just handier this way, right? So there. And then to make the sieves, the recipe is 4 planks, a slab, and 2 sticks. That, and I only wanted 9, so we'll make a 3x3 of these. There. Make sure I get it centered properly. And then we need to put meshes into these, so we just put them in there, and if we're holding shift, we get this spread grid button over here, so it'll evenly distribute through all the 9. And we'll make our 9 of those. So now when we use this setup, if we click on any one of these sieves, it'll automatically distribute among all 9, which is it's a really handy thing to have going for us there. I'm going to do that because I want another platform for doing my hammering. So the main way we're going to be producing our first basic resources from this cobblestone, we can turn the cobblestone to gravel into sand, and sand can get turned into dust, and this is all through the hammers, which we can take a look at next here. In need of a few more sticks. Slightly short. There we go. So we're going to make 9 of these stone hammers. And then if we put all those together, we get a compressed stone hammer. And what that does for us, if we just hit K on this cobblestone while we're in our 3x3, we can compress that cobblestone down into compressed cobblestone. And this just makes it a lot faster than placing down 63 cobblestone. This way I only have to put down these 7. And then you have to use the compressed hammer on the compressed cobblestone to break it. But then that'll get us the 7 compressed gravel, which we can then move back to the standard gravel, and we end up with 63 back there again, right? which we can then take over to our sieves and start getting our first resources. So from gravel, we're going to get the main resources that we need at the start here. So the main things we need right now are the flint and the iron ore chunks. All the rest of this is just kind of bonus, but we want to get our meshes all upgraded to the flint version, so we're looking to get this flint as fast as possible. And if we look at the recipes, just by hitting R when we're on top of it, we can see we can get it from sieving sand in the string mesh. And then when we go up to the flint mesh, we can see that the average output, like the chance, goes up. So here it's 20% chance with the string mesh, and that goes up to a 25% chance if we have the flint mesh. So the better the mesh, the more resources we're actually going to get from those. So we want to upgrade to flint as fast as possible just to get better drop chances, is essentially what we're looking to do there. But for now, we are going to need some more of those pebbles. So let's dump out a lot of this stuff that we're not interested in at the moment. We could probably do the granite and the diorite as well. And I'm going to hold on to this cobble deep slate as well, just for the moment. The other thing that we need to get to relatively quickly is the oh, it's two words, bone meal. So we do need to sieve on dust to be able to get that, and we need to get at least 7 bone meal off of the start here, and probably 13 would be a better number to be at. So we're going to need to get some of this dust sieved up, so we'll work on that here relatively quickly. May as well do this. So we're going to turn these guys into their compressed versions as well. And these will hammer down into gravel. And then we'll take these 4 and hammer all this down to the sand. And then sand will turn into dust. And dust doesn't have a compressed variant, so when we do that, then we'll get 36 all at once. And we're going to come over here and throw this through, and hopefully we get the bone meal that we need. But if we don't, we can always make more of the resources. It's just going to take a bunch of time while we stand there clicking on the ground. So as you can see, we did only get a few at the start, so we're back to doing this is a big part of our lives. All right, let's do the stone there, and then we should be able to do this for a while. Because yeah, this is going to be the biggest time sink at the start of this pack, which is why we want to get to the cobblestone generators as fast as possible. But to do that, we're going to need lava, and to do lava, we're going to need a porcelain crucible. So that's the aim for the getting through this beginning part of this pack speedily. I even forget. Right, so the crushed deep slate we can put through the meshes as well, but we won't get any of the flint, which is one of the big ones that we need right away. But if you're just want to get some of these other materials, then you can do the deep slate as well. I think the other rock types do sieve as well in their crushed form, if they have a crushed form. So you just have to kind of use JEI and look through them to see if they have it, and what it will give you when you run it through the particular mesh that you have. But for now, we do need to sieve down as much dust as we can so that we can get to the bone meal. And we're going to need a few extra dust left over, at least 2 extra dust at the end of the day to be able to get the crucible up and going. Actually 3 if we want to make the buckets. But we could also possibly get enough iron and just go straight to an iron bucket instead of going with the porcelain buckets. As soon as something pops into that last slot, we're going to be compressing. So just do all of those, and then we got to go to our 3x3 so we can compress down the other things. I'm not going to be doing the andesite anymore because create is something we can get to fairly early, and I want to have some andesite left over at the end. So put those down there for now. A couple extra of that left over, and all these other things. Let's get that put away. And we can't compress while we're in this screen, so we'll just leave those there for now. And let's get all of this crushed up. There is like a builder's wand that you can make, but the durability is so horrible it feels like a waste of time until you get up to at least a diamond one. And now we just want to keep our eye on the bone meal, and hopefully we can get up to 7 relatively quickly. 7 for sure, and 13 would be the number that we want if we're going to be using the porcelain buckets. We're now at 14 flint. We're going to need 36 to upgrade all of our meshes all at once, because if we do them one at a time, we won't be able to bulk sieve them at a time. We'll only be able to do as many as, like, if I start in a string mesh, it'll only spread to string meshes. If I started out on a flint mesh, it would only go to the flint meshes, and I only currently have enough to do yeah, 3. So it's a lot, even though I have a lower chance, it's still more efficient to do it all in the string. So and just put that away for now. And yeah, let's get all of this out of there. Actually, hold on. I want it in my inventory, but not on my hotbar. Yeah, I think we'll keep going on the dust rather than do the gravel and hope that we get the flint drops, because we're getting flint from the, I think we are getting flint from the dust drops, are we not? No, we're not getting flint on the dust drops. Collect up the drops from the tree while we wander around, and also to keep my mind from wandering too much while we do this mind-numbing activity. Actually, this is we're kind of getting a little bit spread out here, so let's make some torches and just make sure that we don't get any unwelcome guests out on our platforms here. May as well do lots and lots and lots. I thought I should do it before, but on the second round I was like, maybe we'll get lucky. But definitely wasn't even close to being lucky enough. We only ended up with 8 of the 13 bone meal that we wanted. Then we want to do cobble and the diorite and the granite. And that got us, should be lots of dust to finish off what we need to do here now. And we ended up with, yeah, get a big burst of drop at the end that we really didn't need, but that's fine. Alright, so the next thing we're going to need, we're going to make a set of flint shears. We're going to make a barrel. Like that, and then we're going to need one of these trees. We're going to shear off all of the leaves from there. And we're going to fill that up with leaves, and that's going to turn into water for us. So that's going to cover the first part of what we need. We need to get two... Actually, we should have had... Oh, wait, this is the wrong thing. That makes... we need... the oak crucible, not the oak barrel. I do have an extra piece of dirt now, though. That's handy in itself, I guess. But it's the crucible, yes. 4 leaves will turn into 1 bucket of water. And we should have had that going earlier, because now we're kind of stuck waiting around. So I guess while we wait, we may as well process some of this. Did I leave myself any cobblestone behind? It doesn't look like it, so that's unfortunate, but we'll make do with what we got for now. Okay. I'm gonna leave myself 36 dust behind for now. That we can use later. Don't need this anymore. I ended up with 24 bone meal. How did I miss? Oh, because I sieved up that extra. Okay. That makes sense. That's about half done there now. So we'll just work on getting our wood going here. It's very important that we don't lose all of our grass. So if you want to do a big mass planting, like leave yourself at least 1 or 2 grass. Just grow a whole bunch of trees at a time, and you can ultimine out all of the wood. Okay, so once that stone paxel goes to the broken, it won't break completely like in normal Minecraft, but if we had some cobblestone instead of using it all, we can repair it with cobblestone. So 1 will do 1/3 of it, 2 2/3, and 3 will fully repair. And that's the same with the other tools as well, but that's why we make the paxel, so that we can just repair it for the same cost, and we also have a multi-tool rather than different, like multiple different tools. Didn't, oh, there's another tree grew over here. Tricky trees growing all over the place on me. Alright, we got our first bucket there. So we're going to do that second bucket, and we are also going to make ourselves an infinite water source with some oh wait, I do need, aha, I did. See, we need to get the water into this barrel. If it happened to rain, we could fill up the barrel with rainwater, but we do need a bucket to get the water out of there into that first. So we're probably going to have to manually do our first 3 iron and get a real bucket. Which we actually might have enough now. Actually, no, we're nowhere even close, right? Yeah, you don't have to switch blocks to make it go faster. Just need to up the rate at which your mouse can interact with the block. I'm just going to test this, but I don't think it works, right? Yeah. So we need these iron chunks. We have to take 4 of them to make 1 iron ore, and then mine the iron ore to get the raw iron, and then cook that in a furnace. So we do have enough to make our first furnace. Which we'll just put down somewhere for now. But we're going to need to process a whole bunch of materials to be able to get those and this. Oops, sorry. Stay on the cobble, please. Just put all of that away for now. Oh yeah, we'll get that back later when we need it. going to unpack all of that. 54 is not going to get us where we need to be with the iron. But as soon as we get a water source opened up, then we will be good to go, right? Oh, we got the perfect amount. That, cook up our iron. We got 3 iron to make our first bucket. And we should be golden from there. So we won't need any of these pebbles anymore. 8 cobblestone. I think that's enough to get us where we need to go. $13. We only need 10 at this point now. That means we need 3 dust to turn into clay. We're up to 24 on the flint, so that's decent as well. Alright, that. That. Now we have our water source. May as well have our barrel over here somewhere. If we put water in the barrel and then we add dust to it, that makes a clay. So we're just right-click the dust onto the barrel full of water. We can break that clay into clay balls, and then the clay balls into porcelain clay balls. And we can do 7 of them for a crucible, and then 3 into an unfired bucket. And because we're burning sticks, we can process these one at a time. Other than that, if we were using our coal, we'd want to turn it into mini coal. If you put the coal up there, you can get the coal pieces, which will cook 1 item at a time. And we're going to need 1 of those back, along with 3 logs. We're going to make a campfire. With the campfire, we place down the crucible on top of it. Oh, we are short 2 cobble right now. We need 6 cobblestone to make the cobble generator. So yeah, we put 4 cobble in there, and that will cook down, eventually getting us 1 bucket of lava there. And then we need 1 bucket of water. We're going to need actually going to need some sand. I forgot to save a piece of sand to cook into a glass. There, now I think we're done with the pebbles. I'm not going to throw them out just yet. that's just about half done. We don't really need this crucible anymore, so let's pick that up and get it out of our road. And I guess while we're waiting for that, we've got enough to do 6 of our sieves here, so it's a high enough majority that we can get. I think the efficiency is just about the same with 9 string meshes or 6 flint meshes. Should be relatively about the same. And the other thing I guess we can do while we're waiting is we're going to need a little bit of a platform to do a cobblestone generator on. This should work. I just need that one to there. I'm going to place my 4 water buckets. So when we have Ultimine in a pack, this is a very speedy way to do a cobble gen. This is still manual, but we put 1 bucket of lava there, and then with this bucket of water there, it spreads out to these 3, where that's why I left these holes in the corners. So it's basically a 3x3 in the middle, or a 7x7 overall with these 3 with the 4 corners cut out in 3x3s. You put the lava in the middle, and that will make 8 cobblestone at a time. And then with Ultimine, you can get all of the gravel all at once, or all of the cobble at once. Now that does mean you can lose 8 at a time. And then when your Paxel breaks, you gotta repair it but it's quick to repair, so that's not a big concern really. Now, if you really wanted to, you could replace the 1 stone piece there with a crafting table or something, and then just hold right click, but because I'm using a Paxel, that wouldn't work anyways. So if you're using a regular pickaxe, then you could do that, but with a Paxel it wouldn't. Like, you'll just break it on those ones when it takes like a half a second extra for the lava to spread. Paxel broken again, that's good enough for now. We'll compress down all of our cobblestone. So we've got 29 compressed cobble now, which is pretty great. We probably need some steak because I've been doing all of that Ultra mining. Pick up that guy for now. Just place those all over, wherever. Oops. And our hammer broke. But like 9 hammers was 18 cobble used, and we can fully repair it with just 3 that way. I thought that was pretty neat insofar as that system is concerned. But now we can run all this through the gravel meshes, and we will get the increased drop chances. And bonus resources like amethyst. Right, we can do 2 more of our meshes. So shift and right click gets it out. And now we can do the last one. Now we're fully upgraded on our meshes. Well, to flint anyways. We're aiming to get to 18 pieces of copper is the next phase that we want to get to here. We can start into ore doubling. There's 2 layers of ore doubling that we can do in the early game here, so we want to get to those as quick as possible. So let's put all of this away for now. We'll find our copper here. And where's our iron? We don't necessarily require the iron right at the moment. Let's repair this while I'm thinking about it. I'm going to need a little bit extra cobble. Now I can pick up that and grab one of those. If you look in here, there's a stone block generator. This is what we want to go so we don't have to manually collect our cobblestone anymore. So it's just 6 cobble, lava, water, and glass. We can make one of those, and then we can also make a drawer for these to go into, and this is from functional storage. You take a chest and you put a chest inside a chest, more or less, and this will hold up to 2048. And we actually need one more bucket of lava for this to work properly. And we need a little bit of a stone platform to put this down on. So let's kill the rest of this water sources. We're going to even out this little platform for the moment. So our stone block generator will go there, our drawer will go on top, and later on we can make a compacting drawer to hold more resources in it. And that's still working away. But I guess while we're doing that, we'll grab this generator and we'll look at it for a second here. Actually, let's do this as well. Let's get our copper cooked up. We ended up with 40, which is excellent. We have lots. We can even upgrade this to the copper tier, which will need an extra bucket of lava. You know what? We don't have to do that right now. Later on, when we want to increase efficiency on our automation, we will do that. But for right now, we should be good to go. Oh, there's also a better heat generator. We can't make that. Okay, we can actually get to this superheating element, which would give us a 60x ratio on melting our lava. It just takes a steel casing, which needs an osmium and 4 steel. To get the steel, we need the steel dust, which we can make with an iron dust, 4 coal, and an ore hammer. And this is kind of the road that I'm on right now, is the ore hammer. We need 18 copper ingots to make one, so that's kind of what we're doing at the moment. Just waiting for that. But other than that, we can look at the uses on this guy. So block generators. So you put down the generator. Sometimes it requires a certain block underneath it, which is this block here. So to generate end stone, I needed the generator on top of a glowstone block. We need witch water on one side and lava on the other. So this one's a lot more simple. If we wanted to make diorite, we would need diorite underneath, water on one side, lava on the other. Basalt would be blue ice plus lava. Netherrack would be netherrack underneath and lava on both sides. Now the only thing that the JEI doesn't tell us here is whether or not the generator consumes these resources or not. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Like if you're just making cobblestone, it won't use up them on either side, but some resources it will use it up on either side of it. But yeah, we're gonna have our generator, lava on one side, stone on the other, and we can see how fast this is starting to come in now, like quite fast. And it's all automated, so we don't have to worry about, vein mining anything there. And just in time, we got the resources we needed now to make our ore hammer. So 2 blocks of copper and 3 sticks will make our first ore hammer. Now where this is going to come in handy is if we take our iron now, and we mine up this iron, we end up with 5 raw iron pieces. But if we craft it with the ore hammer, we double it. So now we have 10 iron dust instead of just 5. And could have stopped there, but and 10 is actually the perfect amount so that we can get to the next quote-unquote tier of ore doubling. I don't think it's a true doubling in this next step, but it is worth doing anyways, so we're going to go there. But let's get another platform to work from here. So I'd better have a torch ready, right? We're already up to 350 cobblestone. We got our 10 iron nuggets. So from Integrated Dynamics, there's a squeezer. This takes 2 planks, 4 sticks, a block of iron, and an iron ingot. Which isn't too hard in the grand scheme of things. Oh, I had lots of planks. I'm going to want a container, so let's grab a chest. We're going to want a resource. Let's grab osmium. Because we want to work our way towards that heat generator. See, if we had rain before, we wouldn't have needed to make that bucket the long way. But you never know, like, how long it'll take before it actually rains, so that's the thing there. But anyways, if we take our ore and we put it in the squeezer and then we jump on top of this guy, we just squeezed that 1 into 2, so we doubled our osmium there. I don't think Maybe it does double every time, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Oh, so the osmium won't double. What did I get hit by? Oh! I didn't even hear you, sir. That's what we get for not making a bed with all that extra string that we had left over. I guess we should probably do that, eh? But at any rate, with the squeezer, you see, I hope you're picking up what I'm putting down with that there, is that you can okay, let's grab a whole bunch of cobble. K, Shift K, that gets us a stack of compressed cobblestone. If I had bothered to do this neater, it would have fit in more compactly, but that's fine. And we can do our resources as needed, right? If we wanted to do some, like, hold on. Yes, I wanted to leave 16 of those as gravel, and then do the other ones. We'll split up sand, dust, and so on and so forth. And compressed gravel does not obey gravity like regular gravel does. So your options are a little more open in that regard. Just note that when I put down that last one, the automatic replacement kicks in. So just being careful not to do that. And we'll do the rest of this into dust. We'll leave ourselves a little bit of sand. Oops. Oops, I forgot. We need 3 pieces of cobblestone to repair our hammer. Alright, I'm going to put let's see. See, we do get to double up on the copper with the ore hammer. Oh, osmium, it does double up, right? So each one I do gives me 2. Okay. Thought I was going crazy there for a second. And my inventory, I'm going to clean up. because we're going to end up with a ton of resources here. Yeah, let's keep one stack of sand back. There we go, this should be fine. And we'll just process all of this. So a little bit of a little bit of sand, not a whole lot, because we're not interested in the drops from the sand just yet. I think once we get up to the iron mesh, the sand drops are a little more attractive. Onto the dust. Now we're going to get into the really spammy stuff when we're processing the dust through the flint mesh. I'm going to put one of these stacks of dust away, I think. And get all of those other ore chunks out of my inventory, or out of the chest. I probably should have processed gravel more to get the resources, the mineral ore resources. But gravel's super easy to do, and dust is a little bit more involved, right? Breaking it down multiple times. But if we look at some of these zirconium stuff, we can compress it down into this gem storage. It's basically just compressed zirconium. But these generally don't have any use. They're just decorative. So if you wanted to make your base fancy, they're good for that, but not much else they're good for. Like you can make a gem cast with one of them, and you really only ever need one gem cast, so not a lot of point to those guys there. So let's go ahead and put away everything that's not an ore resource. 7 iron nuggets randomly. And 2 dead bush. There we go. All right. The next thing we're going to work on is automating. I guess, yeah, we're not going to do any automation now. I think this is a good place to call it for an episode, so to speak. We've got access, we've got cobblestone generating by itself. We've got our mesh setup done. We could do see, we can get 16 iron, which is only enough to get 4 meshes done, upgraded to the iron tier. Basically with this squeezer we just need a redstone signal, so a button will reset it for us. And we can automate this with some ingenuity type of things, but I'm not going to cover that here today. Yeah, we turn those into 10, which isn't bad. That gets us 20. Oh, our warhammer's on us here. So yeah, we could do 5 meshes to upgrade into iron with what we got here now, but I guess on the flip side we could always just empty that right out. Oh. Oh, I'm not looking at the right thing. There we go. I need the 3x3 to compress the cobble. There, we ended up with 2.5 stacks of compressed cobble. Now we do need to be a little bit careful about placing all these down so that we don't make this too big of a mess. Actually, hold on. I think we can multiple compress this so we don't have to place down so many. So 2x compressed, we ended up with 16, which is going to be a lot better than putting down 2.5 stacks worth. Unpack all of that gravel into a full inventory's worth. And we're not going to have any room over here, so I got a little bit overzealous with that, but we can definitely get a lot of resources out of this now. And get these meshes upgraded into the iron, which will give us a lot more drops. Now, in the old version of Ex Nihilo, we had sieves that could handle compressed variants, but we don't in Xdeorum. So that's just the way it is, I guess. Inventory is still super packed. Still don't have any room. That gravel despawns over there, that's not a big deal, I don't think. But I should be able to get over there before it despawns. One more up there. Is that? Oh, that's just 1 times compressed, and that's more than a stack. So let's dump that. Don't really need all that dripstone, I don't think. And we'll just process. I think by the time I'm finished processing all of this gravel, that one base stone generator will have already replaced everything that I took out of it. We did what, like 500-ish? I think it was. From here, we'll have access to pretty much tons of resources, and we can start looking at doing some automation stuff, but we'll do that some other time. I'm sure that I don't know if there are quest lines right now in the pack that tell you about it. This will tell you about all the different tools, like from iron to all the modium, which is the top tier in this pack. So it doesn't tell you like how to do the automation, but it tells you about the mods that are in here that make the automation possible. So if you know your way around moddage, you can get there because there's no gating in the pack necessarily through the quests. All the gating is in the getting the processing done and knowing which machines and knickknacks and doodads that you need to get things done. think we can do up to a 5x5 is the biggest size that you can do with these sieves. So we can definitely make a lot more of those if we're going to be doing this by hand, but I think eventually we'll get to the point where we just want to have it automated anyways, and you don't need 25 sieves for automation. We'll definitely need at least 9, but I don't think we need as many as 25, so that's why I haven't gone ahead and made a big array of these. I guess the other thing I could do is start compressing down a lot of these ore chunks into their ore form. Actually, can we do this? Yes, that's easier. Kind of doing it one-handed before. Actually, we need this to do the coal. Get that into coal blocks. I don't foresee needing pointed dripstone in that quantity, but I could be wrong. Oops. This. Flint blocks. Yes, they convert back, so that's fine. We got another stack and a half of gravel to do. I think I saw some compressed cobble still in my inventory for some reason. Oh, that was just regular cobble. Oh yeah, for repairing my tools, right? Eventually we got there. So yeah, we can automate this. We'll have an input. This is automatically outputting because I lined up these troughs with the chest, so it automatically outputs. So we just have to automate the input of the ores, and then the ingenious part is getting a armor stand to bounce up on top of this. And then there's something called a redstone clock, which will emit a redstone signal every so often. You can click it with an empty hand to change the frequency. But that'll reset it, so as the armor stand is bouncing up on top of it, the redstone clock resets it automatically. You hopper something into it, and then it automatically outputs there. So if you have a chest hoppered in, it'll just process all of that. Then you come back here, pick all of that up. You can ore hammer it down to double it. See, we've already replaced all of that cobble that I used. And then on the other side, it comes out as processed ore, which has been, I think it's even more than doubling, right? Because we took 4 iron ores and we turned it into 10 ingots. Yeah, let's do 10 as a manual test. Not the most accurate test, but I'll take it for now, just to give ourselves an idea of what we get out of it. So 10 turned into 24, so we got 2.5 times there. And then that 24 will turn into 48 with the ore hammer. So we turned 10 ore into almost 50 dust. So we almost got 5 times out of it. And there we go. At any rate, that's going to wrap up my early game tips and tricks video / live stream for all the mods 10 to the Sky. I hope you all enjoyed. I did. This is just all of your standard Skyblock stuff in 121, so nothing groundbreaking by any means here. Just getting into the automation is the tricky part, I guess, moving forward from here. At any rate, I'd appreciate you all for checking it out, and we will see you in the next one. Bye!